Blackwood Manor stood on the outskirts of Raven's Hollow, a small town that had long forgotten its history. The house was a towering relic of the 1800s, its Gothic spires piercing the sky like blackened fingers, its windows like soulless eyes, always watching. Nobody dared enter. It had been abandoned for over a century, yet every night lights flickered in its windows. Shadows moved behind the glass. Some claimed they had seen a woman in white standing on the balcony, staring at them with hollow eyes. Others swore they heard whispers in the wind, calling their names. And then there were the disappearances. Families who had bought the house vanished without a trace. Police investigations turned up nothing. No bodies, no signs of struggle, only the same eerie silence. The town had given up trying to explain it. They simply stayed away until now. Ethan Cole wasn't afraid of ghosts. He had spent the last decade proving them didn't exist. As a well-known paranormal debunker on YouTube, Ethan had traveled to every so-called haunted place in America, old asylums, abandoned prisons, eerie hotels. Every time he had exposed the truth, it was all just urban legends, faulty wiring, or hysteria. That's why he chose Blackwood Manor for his next episode, the most haunted house in America, Exposed. His team was small but efficient. Sarah Lawson, his researcher, the brains of the group. Jacob Reed, the tech expert who handled the cameras and ghost hunting gadgets. Olivia Morgan, the psychic, a last-minute addition. Ethan didn't believe in psychics, but she had insisted she could feel something about the house. Together, they planned to spend the night inside Blackwood Manor, debunking every so-called haunting. But they had no idea what awaited them inside. They arrived at 8 p.m. The sky was a deep shade of purple, storm clouds rolling in like an omen. The house loomed before them, more terrifying in person. The front doors were slightly ajar, as if inviting them inside. Jacob set up the cameras. "We're live in 5 minutes." Ethan adjusted his mic. "Remember, the goal is to prove this place is a hoax." Olivia shivered. "Something feels wrong." They entered. The air was thick, suffocating, as though the house itself was breathing. The wooden floorboards groaned beneath their feet. A chandelier swayed, though there was no breeze. Then the front door slammed shut. Sarah turned. "Did someone close that?" Jacob shook his head. "Must be the wind." Olivia whispered, "There is no wind." As they explored, the house seemed alive. Footsteps echoed upstairs, even though nobody was there. Faint whispers drifted from the walls, calling their names. Objects moved on their own. In the library, Sarah found a dusty leather-bound journal. It belonged to Margaret Blackwood, the last owner of the house. She flipped to the final page. The handwriting was frantic, almost desperate. "The voices are getting louder. They tell me to stay. They tell me I belong to the house now. I must resist. I must..." The writing stopped abruptly. Jacob's camera flickered. "Did you see that?" he whispered. The screen showed a dark figure standing at the top of the stairs. It vanished in an instant. Then a loud bang echoed through the house. They followed the noise to a locked door at the end of the hallway. It was chained shut with a rotting wooden sign nailed to it. "Do not open." Ethan hesitated. Something behind that door didn't want to be found. Olivia touched the door. She gasped, eyes rolling back. "There's someone inside, trapped, begging for help." Jacob didn't wait. He grabbed a crowbar and pried the door open. The door creaked open, revealing a room frozen in time. A large, cracked mirror stood in the center. Dusty portraits lined the walls, each face warped and twisted in horror. A small crib sat in the corner, rocking by itself. Then the mirror trembled. A figure appeared inside it, a woman dressed in an old white gown, her eyes sunken and hollow. Margaret Blackwood. She raised a bony hand and pointed. Then she spoke. "The house will not let you leave." The walls began to shake. The lights exploded, plunging them into darkness. The air grew thick and suffocating, like invisible hands pressing against their throats. Something moved in the shadows. A presence, ancient and angry. "The house is feeding off us," Olivia gasped. "It needs souls to survive." Ethan grabbed Sarah and Jacob. "Run!" The hallway stretched longer and longer, like the house itself was twisting reality. Then the voices came. "Stay with us. You belong here. Never leave." The stairs collapsed, trapping them inside. Jacob screamed. Something dragged him into the darkness. He was gone. Olivia grabbed the mirror. "It's the source. We have to break it." Ethan hesitated. "What if it makes things worse? We don't have a choice." With all her strength, Olivia smashed the mirror against the floor. A deafening scream erupted as the house began to disintegrate. The souls trapped inside were finally free. The walls trembled, groaning as though alive. Dust and debris rained down as Olivia stood over the shattered mirror, her breath ragged. For a moment, silence. Then a low, guttural growl filled the room. Ethan turned, his blood running cold. The portraits lining the walls were changing. The faces, once frozen in fear, were now screaming in agony. Their mouths stretched unnaturally wide, their eyes turning black. Sarah backed against the wall. "I don't think breaking the mirror worked." Then something crawled from the shadows. At first, it was only a shape, a writhing mass of darkness. Then it took the form of a figure with elongated limbs, its fingers like sharpened bones. It crawled upside down along the ceiling, its head snapping toward them. Its mouth gaped open, revealing rows of jagged yellowed teeth. And then it spoke. "You should not have come." The voice was not human. It was a chorus of suffering, layered voices of the trapped souls. Ethan staggered back, his instincts screaming run, but the thing was blocking the door. Jacob was still missing. They had to get out. "Go!" Ethan yelled, pushing Sarah and Olivia toward the hallway. The creature lunged. Ethan barely dodged, rolling across the floor as its clawed hand slashed inches from his face. It wasn't going to let them leave. 3 of them sprinted through the decaying hallway, the floorboards rotting under their feet. The house was changing, warping its layout to keep them trapped inside. "We need to find Jacob," Olivia shouted. Ethan cursed under his breath. He wanted to save Jacob, but the truth was, he might already be dead. Still, they couldn't leave without trying. They ran toward the last place they had seen him, the grand staircase. But when they arrived, there was no staircase, only a gaping hole leading into complete darkness. Sarah's voice wavered. Where did the stairs go?" Then a whisper. "Help me." It was Jacob's voice. Ethan spun around. "Jacob, where are you?" No response, just the distant sound of something dragging across the floor. A shadow moved at the far end of the hall. "Jacob," Sarah whispered. The figure stepped forward. But it wasn't Jacob. It looked like Jacob, same height, same build, but its head was tilted unnaturally, its mouth stretched into an unsettling grin. Then it spoke. "Jacob is gone." And it lunged. The whispers returned, surrounding them like a swarm of invisible voices. "You can leave, but one of you must stay." Ethan felt his heart pound. It was offering them a deal. "Don't listen to it," Olivia whispered. The voice laughed. "One life in exchange for freedom. Choose or be taken." The house wanted a sacrifice. Ethan clenched his fists. "We're not playing your game. Then you will both die." The floor began to crack beneath them. Olivia grabbed Ethan's hand, and then she made the choice. "I'll stay." Ethan's eyes widened. "No, Olivia, you can't." She pushed him toward the door. "Go before it's too late." Ethan fought against her grip, but an invisible force pulled him away. The last thing he saw was Olivia's tear-streaked face as the house claimed her, and then everything went black. Ethan woke up on the ground. It was morning. The house was gone, for real this time, and Olivia was beside him, breathing, alive. "It worked," she whispered. Ethan held her close. "What happened?" Olivia smiled weakly. "I tricked the house." "The house needed a soul," she said, but it never said whose. Margaret had been trapped inside the house for centuries, And when Olivia broke the rules of the deal, Margaret was claimed instead. She was gone forever, and Blackwood Manor was erased from existence. Ethan and Olivia never spoke about that night. They left Raven's Hollow. But sometimes in their dreams they hear Margaret Blackwood's screams, and they know some houses should never be built again.